Opening. Have you ever spent hours studying, yet it feels like nothing sticks? You read your notes, highlight passages, maybe even cram the night before an exam, but when test day comes, most of it just vanishes from your memory. Frustration builds, exhaustion sets in, and you feel ready to give up. Here's the good news: there's a smarter way to study. Today, I'm going to share a Japanese study routine that can make your learning up to 10 times more effective, and it only takes minutes a day. This isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. It's a method Japanese students and professionals have used for decades, combining focus, discipline, and science-backed techniques to maximize retention and understanding. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to structure your study sessions so every minute counts, and learning becomes faster, deeper, and more lasting. So if you're ready to leave frustration behind and actually remember what you study, let's dive in. The problem with conventional studying. Let's be honest, most of us have been here. You sit down to study for hours, maybe even late into the night. You read and reread your notes, highlight key points, and try to cram everything at the last minute. You might even multitask, check your phone, browse tabs, or listen to music, thinking it helps. But here's the harsh truth. These habits don't work. Your brain isn't designed to remember information that isn't actively processed. Simply staring at notes or highlighting passages creates the illusion of learning. You feel like you're absorbing knowledge, but in reality, very little sticks. Let me give you an example. Take Sarah, a university student. She spent 5 hours each night cramming before exams, highlighting entire chapters and rereading her textbook. On test day, she could barely recall half of what she studied. All that hard work wasted. The problem isn't Sarah, it's the method. Conventional studying relies on passive habits, and passive habits are forgettable habits. The good news? There's a better way. Methods used by Japanese students, and now supported by cognitive science, show that active, structured practice is the key to remembering more in less time. In the next section, we'll explore the science behind how the brain learns and why some techniques feel almost like cheating, but they actually work. The science behind effective learning. Now that we've seen why conventional studying often fails, let's dive into the science of learning the right way, the same methods Japanese students and professionals have been using for decades. There are a few key principles that make their routines so effective. 1. Short, focused sessions. Instead of cramming for hours on end, these routines use 25 to 50-minute blocks of concentrated study. Why? The brain has a limited attention span. Long, continuous sessions lead to fatigue and lower retention. Short, intense periods allow you to focus fully and make every minute count. 2. Active recall. Next is active recall. Instead of passively reading or highlighting, you test yourself. Close the book and write down everything you remember or explain the concept out loud. This forces your brain to actively retrieve information, strengthening memory far more than passive review ever could. 3. Spaced repetition. Then comes spaced repetition, reviewing material at carefully timed intervals. For example, review the concept 1 day after learning it, then 3 days later, 1 week later, and finally 1 month later. This method fights the forgetting curve, ensuring knowledge stays in long-term memory instead of slipping away. 4. Minimalist, calm environment. Finally, the study environment matters more than most people realize. A clutter-free, quiet space enhances focus and reduces cognitive load. Japanese routines often emphasize simplicity. Just a desk, a notebook, and the materials you need. No distractions, no multitasking, just full attention on the task at hand. The neuroscience behind it. Here's why these methods work. Attention is finite. Short, focused sessions maximize it. Memory consolidation happens when you actively recall information and revisit it over time. Without review, the forgetting curve shows we can lose up to 70% of new knowledge within 24 hours. By combining these principles, focused sessions, active recall, spaced repetition, and a calm environment, you're aligning your study habits with how your brain naturally learns and retains information. Next, we'll turn these principles into a practical, step-by-step routine you can start using immediately to study smarter, not harder. The Japanese routine, step by step. Now that we understand why conventional study often fails and the science behind effective learning, let's put it into practice with a step-by-step Japanese study routine you can start using today. 1. Preparation ritual, 2-3 min. Every productive session begins with preparation. Organize your workspace. Clear your desk, gather materials, remove distractions. Set micro goals. Instead of study math, aim for something specific like, I will master these 5 formulas and solve 3 example problems. Mindfulness or breathing reset. Spend 1 to 2 minutes calming your mind, letting go of distractions, and priming yourself for focused work. 2. Pomodoro-style study blocks, 30 to 40%. Next, dive into intense, focused study blocks of 25 to 50 minutes. Pick one subject or skill at a time. Avoid multitasking. Immerse yourself fully. Read, solve problems, or practice actively. After each block, take a 5 to 10-minute break. Stretch, walk, or relax. These cycles, inspired by the Pomodoro technique, prevent burnout and maintain high-quality focus throughout your session. 3. Active recall and note simplification, 30 to 40%. After each block, engage in active recall. Close your book and summarize everything you just learned from memory. Simplify your notes. Turn dense paragraphs into diagrams, keywords, or flashcards. This process forces your brain to reorganize and consolidate information, making it easier to remember and apply later. 4. Daily review and spaced repetition, 20 to 30%. Japanese students know that review is just as important as initial learning. Revisit material from yesterday, last week, and last month. Use notebooks or apps like Anki or Quizlet to track progress systematically. This is spaced repetition in action. Repeated exposure at optimal intervals strengthens memory and prevents forgetting. Closing ritual, 5 to 10 min. End your session with reflection. What did you master? What needs improvement? Plan the next day's learning. By following these steps, preparation, focused blocks, active recall, spaced review, and reflection, you're not just studying, you're training your brain to learn smarter, retain more, and apply knowledge effectively. Next, we'll explore bonus tips and tricks that can supercharge the routine even further. Bonus tips to boost effectiveness. Now that you know the core Japanese study routine, let's add some bonus strategies to make it even more effective. 1. Teach others. One of the most powerful ways to solidify learning is to teach it. Explaining concepts out loud forces your brain to organize and clarify what you understand. Even talking to yourself or a study buddy counts. Teaching strengthens memory far more than passive review. 2. Dual coding. Combine words with visuals. Turn your notes into diagrams, charts, or illustrations. Encoding information both visually and verbally creates stronger neural connections, making recall easier and faster. 3. Healthy habits. Your body directly affects your brain's performance. Sleep, hydration, and light exercise improve memory consolidation and focus. Even a 20-minute walk or a good night's sleep can dramatically enhance retention. 4. Control micro-distractions. Your environment matters more than you think. Put your phone on airplane mode, minimize notifications, and choose a quiet, clutter-free space. Eliminating small distractions helps you stay in deep focus during study blocks. 5. Consistency over quantity. Daily, focused practice beats occasional marathon sessions. Short 20 to 30-minute sessions every day are more effective than irregular, long cramming sessions. The goal is to build a habit of learning, not burn out in one sitting. By integrating these bonus strategies into your Japanese study routine, you'll maximize retention, reduce wasted effort, and make learning feel almost effortless. Next, we'll discuss the mindset for lifelong learning, so these habits stick and grow with you over time. Mindset and lifestyle integration. We've covered techniques, routines, and bonus strategies, but there's one final piece that separates occasional learners from true masters: mindset. 1. Lifelong learning. Studying isn't just for exams or grades. Think of learning as a life skill, a tool to continually grow, adapt, and master new knowledge throughout your life. Approach it as a journey, not a temporary task. 2. Patience and persistence. Results don't appear overnight. Even with the best techniques, it's patience and consistent effort over weeks and months that compound into mastery. Treat each study session as a deposit in your knowledge bank. The more consistent you are, the richer your mental resources become. 3. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge every small victory. Even one productive, focused session per day adds up. Each session reinforces discipline, strengthens memory, and builds momentum. Over time, these micro wins transform into a lifelong habit of learning. By combining the Japanese study routine with the right mindset, you're not just studying more efficiently, you're training your brain to excel for a lifetime. Next, we'll wrap up with a closing recap and actionable challenge so you can start applying all of this immediately. Closing call to action. Let's wrap up by recapping the power of the Japanese study routine. It's not about long hours or cramming, it's about short, focused sessions, active recall, structured review with spaced repetition, and mindful study habits. Combined, these strategies make learning more effective, more efficient, and even enjoyable. Here's your challenge. Pick one subject and implement this routine today. Notice how much easier studying becomes when you focus on quality over quantity. Before you go, comment below. Which step will you start with first? Subscribe to the channel for more practical learning and productivity strategies. Share this video with a friend who's struggling to study efficiently. It might just change their approach entirely. Remember, mastery isn't about working harder. It's about learning smarter and building habits that last a lifetime.